Good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. The show is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and it is a pleasure to have you on board. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in. I'll start us off as usual by going through the headlines of the leading newspapers here in Kenya and others from across the continent, and then we will start our conversation from there. We start with the Star newspaper, and the main headline on the Star newspaper: Inside Ugly Uhuru Ruto Silent Battles, Deputy accused of undermining Kenyatta legacy and going after the first family. This story is on page 4 and 5. And the main pictorial there is Red Cross distributing food in Wajir. And just beside that, youth 22 finishes high school thanks to fees raised through WhatsApp group, and that is on page 3. Bribery and rented crowds, biggest threat to security, declares CS Fred Matiang'i. That is on page 7. And state staffs DP's Office of Finances in a plan to ground his operations. That is the story in relation to the main headline there. And a ride in Kenya's first electric city commuter service. That is on page 2. The Standard newspaper: Painful budget. President signs Division of Revenue Bill, which outlines how national and county governments are to share money. Move paves way for Yatani to read a budget. A speech in House tomorrow as elections approach. That is on page 6 and 7. Nomination headache for Azimio and UDA. You find that on page 8 and 10. And no respite yet over fuel shortage. That is on page 29. More back top judge for U.S. court. I think if you've been watching that, Judge Katanji, who will be the first black woman to sit at the Supreme Court in the U.S. And Jeanette wants DCI to grill Ruto on Raila attack. The story is on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. The Daily Nation now, and the main headline: Ruto versus State. DP accused of spending millions of taxpayers' cash on campaigns, and emboldened and hard-hitting Deputy President is pulling no punches, directly taking on his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Jubilee administration that he is part of. Who will blink fast? The story is on page 12 and 13. 420,000 Kenya shillings for steel mill death. No thanks. The family of Caleb Otieno, an employee of the Thika-based Blue Nile Rolling Mills, who was killed after he fell into a vat of molten steel last month, is entangled in a bitter row with his employer over compensation. It now plans to move to court. The story is on page 14 of the Daily Nation. And more families sink into poverty amid economic despair. You'll find that on special coverage on page 4, 5, and 6 on the Daily Nation. And Tana Rivers: crocodile egg hunters who risk their lives in the search for fortune. That is on page 3. Al-Shabaab bomb maker sought workers' assistance in plot to attack Parliament. That is on page 10. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers this morning. Let me just look at some of the papers from across the continent, and we start with that from The Guardian in Nigeria. Why Kaduna is vulnerable to attacks despite military presence. And terrorists raid military base, kill 17 soldiers in Kaduna. Nigeria bleeding, says Tinubu. Army: we are reviewing security architecture to bridge gaps, build troops, resolve. I don't know how Nigeria is going to handle that effectively. The Punch newspaper, still from Nigeria: PDP panel damns zoning, fears North's voting strength. All right. And Newsday from Zimbabwe: ZANU-PF had voters roll with pictures. And the Daily News, still from Zimbabwe: consumers rock over rising prices. The rising prices is just all over the place, and at times are tough for everybody. On the Daily News that is from Tanzania: Samia fosters political cohesion. There you go. And the Citizen, also from Tanzania: tough times beckon as fuel prices soar to record highs. That is in Tanzania, not Kenya. And New Vision: government reveals cruise of Olunya's death. That is from Uganda. And A Daily Monitor also still from Uganda. What killed Olunya? You'll find that on the front page. And Karamojong warriors raid Kape, Lepyong, Kataki. That is on page 10. Uganda seems to be dealing with the same insecurity that perhaps we are also having in Baringo area, that area in Uganda. We seem to be sharing the same problems there. So that is what we have in some of the regional newspapers and also the leading newspapers here in the country. Right now, I'm joined by Gladwell Kiragu from. All right. I'm told she's not there. I think she must have suffered a bit of a technical hitch on her part. But once she comes back, we will have her on and, we'll talk about some of the things that we're supposed to be looking at. So let me just look at the headline on the Star newspaper this morning. Inside ugly Uhuru Ruto silent battles. Let's just go look at it on page 4 and 5. And the behind-scenes war between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto is snowballing into spiteful public combat, only to be settled on August 9th. For months, Uhuru's team has been increasingly bitter over what they see as a deliberate move by Ruto to undermine the presidency's legacy, portray him as a failure, and go after the first family. On Sunday, Uhuru publicly complained that Ruto and his lieutenants even went to his rural Ichaweri village in Gatundu to insult him and his family. The state, however, has quietly but unmistakably tried to diminish the DP, starving his office of finances in a plan to undermine his operations ahead of the August, general elections. The Star has learned that for 1.5 years, Uhuru's administration has frozen travel allowances for staff attached to the DP's office. This has hampered the movement with Ruto on the campaign trail. We are only given 2,000 Kenya shillings for accommodation. The rest, including food, you have to sort yourself. An insider familiar with Ruto's operations told the Star. He painted a sorry picture of financial struggles among supporters in their staff, and concerns are growing that pending bills on food alone at Ruto's official current residence, seen as the Hustlers campaign nerve center, could be ballooning at an alarming rate. The DP has been hosting hundreds of delegations for political meetings at Karen, and Ruto has, however, not set foot in his Harambee House Annex office, which the president's lieutenants now say is dusty after months of abandonment. It is these widening rifts, coupled with Uhuru's decision to back ODM leader Raila Odinga for the president, that has intensified the feud between the two leaders and opened a fresh war path between the country's top leadership. I don't think this is anything new that Kenyans have not really seen how this has been playing out in the news and how we've been seeing these leaders talking. And the kind of rift that has grown between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy. And I think depending on which side of the aisle you're standing on, for those who perhaps supporting, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the other side, they're saying, you know what, why should we give money to somebody who is not working? From this story, the Deputy President William Ruto has not set foot in his official office for months. For months now, he's not been there, to work or do anything, pertaining his position as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And so, also from this story, we're now learning that even for the staff from his office that are accompanying him to this, campaign trails, the kind of allowance they're given is very little, which, also depending on which aisle, from whatever perspective you're looking at this, I think whatever side that you are aligned to, others will argue, why should we pay for the DP's campaign? Because the staff are supposed only to be paid if they're working in their office, serving the larger good of Kenyans and supporting Deputy President to deliver on his responsibility as far as serving the people of Kenya. But if we were to pay them for them to accompany the deputy president on these campaign trails, why should the taxpayers be the ones footing that money? I would hate to know that, that will be the case on the other side. Yeah, I hope no money, no taxpayers' money is being used to even fund Raila's campaign. I think that will be unfortunate. So it should be both sides. So if the DP has absconded duties, he's not showing up to the office, he's not serving Kenyans, why should he continue receiving the same amount of money his office used to receive? But also, according to the story and what we've been seeing, this is being used as a weapon to slow him down, and tried to, curb his movements, because if you don't have money, you can't carry your whole staff to go, whatever, to have international, visits and all that. You can't do that because you need money for that. So apparently the money that was being channeled to the office of the deputy president has been captured. I think that is just one of the ways that maybe the government is using, to just slow down, his movements. So anyway, concerns are growing that pending bills on food alone at Ruto's official current residence, seen as the Hustler campaign nerve center, could be ballooning at an alarming rate. Then again, I think also depending on which side of the aisle you are on. Yeah, why would the taxpayers be the ones paying for these political meetings, for their lunch, for their commissions, for the kickbacks that they're given when they attend these meetings at Karen? That has nothing to do with, matters of national interest. That has nothing to do with the responsibility Deputy President William Ruto is supposed to be carrying out as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. This is his own ambition, wanting to be president, which there's nothing wrong about it. But the taxpayers cannot be the people funding the food for the people coming to these meetings, the transportation or the mobilization fee or the whatever you want to call it. We cannot be the ones paying for this. Yeah, so is the government right in cutting down, some of these monies that was channeled towards the Deputy President William Ruto's office? You let me know your thoughts. I would be happy to read them to the rest of our viewers. And of course, on Monday, in a very uncharacteristic style, the DP used the full crisis to criticize President Kenyatta's government over what he termed conflict of interest and state capture. And this is what he said: the current state of affairs is a clear manifestation of the vestiges of conflict of interest and state capture that is now pervasive and in all sectors of our economy. And I think we looked at that meeting and that press conference yesterday, so I'll not get into too much details of that. But as I said here yesterday, a lot of Kenyans were, even for those who are supporting the deputy president, very conflicted, because he sounded like a real opposition leader standing there and criticizing the same government that he is part of. There's no way you can divorce yourself. You've refused to resign, deputy president. You refused to, to leave the government as bad as you say it is, but you're still part of it. We still pay you. You still live in the official residence of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So you can't stand there and start telling us how this government, how things are and the state of affairs in the country is a clear manifestation of vestiges of conflict of interest, and these are the things that you said. And a lot of things you said, could be true. But I think Kenyans are having troubles just listening that coming from your mouth, because you can't have your cake and eat it. You either decide you're the deputy president and you're part of the government, or you're not and you resign. You cannot still enjoy the privileges that comes with your position and being deputy president and being part of the government, and then on one side you want to tell us about how bad this government is. And the DP, of course, said the unprecedented high fuel prices are not due to ordinary market responses to global crude oil price dynamics, but a cruder local problem. And I think, yes, it is a problem with that, and that hopefully, President Uhuru Kenyatta signed that bill the other day, so the monies will be given to these oil marketers companies so that this problem is solved as soon as possible. And he continued to say that this is the result of a collision between monopolistic cartels and economic saboteurs on one hand, and oblivious, reckless, insensitive, and incompetent public officials on the other hand. Incompetent and insensitive and reckless. I don't know who you're describing, all right? Because you have abandoned your duties, Deputy President. So you can't tell us about other public officials who are incompetent and who are not working and who are not doing their job. You'll fall very well in that category, until you resign. You are culpable. You are responsible. You are part of whatever the problem you think this government has. You are part of that, Deputy President, because you have not resigned. So that means you're okay with this government. You're fine being part of that mess that you're mentioning. You're fine being part of the problem. Because if you had a problem, a real problem with that, you would not want to identify with that. You would resign, but you have refused to do that. So I think give us a break on that. And of course, Jubilee on Monday said it was hypocritical for Ruto to stand on the staircase of a government house enjoying government security and staffing, only to insult the same government he should be serving. Jubilee's statement said Ruto has two clear choices: occupy his dusty office at Harambee House and help the president execute his mandate to the people of Kenya, as he constitutionally should, or resign from the position and lead the opposition atop his tax-funded, top-of-the-range Land Cruiser. And that is that. I think that will only be fair. That will only be fair, for the deputy president. And he did say a couple of things that perhaps a lot of Kenyans are agreeing with. But I think the trouble we are finding is he is the wrong person to be standing there and complaining, the same way myself and other Kenyans are complaining, because he is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, period. How many times has the DP reminded us in these rallies, in these events, that I am the deputy president? So yes, you are. You are. So act like it. If you can't help find solutions, quit. Leave. I mean, yeah. You can't have your cake and eat it. It's unfortunate because that seems to be the case here. And I think yesterday the DP had another press briefing. I think he did. I watched a bit of it. Well, it was live. I can't remember exactly, but I think he had a meeting with, I think, something that has to do with the governors. Let me look for it, because I think also he addressed a couple of things there. So let me see if I can find, yes, governors and CSS snub Ruto's meeting. I think the story is on page 6. Another meeting that the DP had yesterday. So cabinet secretaries and governors yesterday snubbed a meeting convened by Deputy President William Ruto to discuss devolution. Look at that. I think that at this point, even the Deputy President himself is confused. So one moment you're complaining like the ordinary Kenyan, like we are complaining. Then the next moment you have assumed your position as the Deputy President and you're convening a meeting. What is it? What are you now? The DP? He's also confused, I think. Now, the DP chaired the powerful Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, where they discussed key issues affecting devolved units. When he appeared to address a press conference at his current residence after the closed-door meeting, Ruto was flanked by 3 governors allied to his political wing: their Council of Governors Chairman Martin Wambora from Embu, Josephat Nanok of Turkana, and Moses Lenol Kulal of Samburu. Last week, Wambora and Lenol Kulal met the DP at his residence, with the Samburu County boss captured in photos as Ruto's timeline wearing UDA cap. Nanok is the Ruto's presidential campaign manager. Not a single CS attended the meeting, despite the team discussing key matters around funds to counties and general matters touching on devolution. Ruto said the team, which included Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango, received several reports from various players in the devolution arena. We received a report from the Auditor General on the audit of pending bills. The audit determined that 45.5 billion Kenya shillings is payable out of 153 billion Kenya shillings that was reported. The DP said the meeting he disclosed directed the Treasury to work with the Office of the Attorney General to determine the fate of the ineligible pending bills amounting to 107 billion Kenya shillings. IBEC also directed the counties to prioritize payment of pending bills. And of course, the meeting also ordered the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee to conclude the ongoing valuation of county assets and liabilities at least a month to the general election. The meeting happened just hours after governors called for an emergency intervention to avert looming humanitarian crisis occasioned by drought and famine in various parts of the country. So, all right. So, the DP, I think yesterday had convened a meeting, and I think he had invited the CSS and the governors, but only 3 governors showed up, and they were discussing matters devolution. I don't know how comprehensive that meeting was if you only had 3 governors present in that meeting and there was no cabinet secretary, a deputy president. So yesterday you decided you will assume the official position as the deputy president, and after that meeting he came out and addressed the country through the press conference that he had, and of course touching on matters that are key, the drought that, parts of the country is experiencing and all that. I think it was important, but I think it's just the confusion we see, from the deputy president and the different signals he's sending. 1 minute, on Monday he's holding a press conference complaining and calling out the government and looking like he's speaking on behalf of, the opposition, because that is what he sounded like on Monday. And then yesterday he assumes his, official position as the deputy president and convenes a meeting and calls, and you have to decide what you are and just stick to that. You cannot be both. You cannot be both the deputy president. You have to be clear. You're even bringing a lot of confusion, and what you did yesterday, that is what you're supposed to have been doing all this time, helping with the government, taking up responsibilities and doing your job. But that has not been the case. And then you had a meeting to discuss devolution, and all the 3 governors showed up, and no CS showed up, and the things that were discussed, you needed the presence of and the participation of all these people, but they did not show up. And so I don't know who is going to implement some of this, who's going to action some of these things that you discussed, because we know that when it comes to the government agenda, the different ministries, they have the responsibility of implementing and actioning some of these policies and things that have been discussed by the government. Sasa, for Ruto, I don't know whatever they discussed, who is going to action them? Who's going to implement them? Who's going to enforce them? Because the people who were supposed to do that, DP, were not present. So, and I don't know what was the meaning of this meeting yesterday. I think even the DP convening this meeting, he knew well and good that the CSS will not be present, because we know that President Uhuru Kenyatta has purged at least a good number of the ministries, and ensures that he has people who are loyal. He has people who he can trust with his, legacy, with his vision, with whatever it is he wants to deliver to the country. And so he has removed, majority of the people who were seen to or perceived to not, to lean towards the deputy president's side, because we know there's a time where even the cabinet itself was, divided halfway. One side supported the deputy president and the other side supported, president's side. And so it became very difficult when implementing some of the policies. Like I said, the ministries are very important as far as implementing these policies by the government and realizing the legacy even of President Uhuru Kenyatta. So a lot of purge went into that. And so the ones who were there, I don't know how the DP thought they will actually attend this meeting. I couldn't see that happening, but, nevertheless, they did not show up. So that is that. All right, so let's just move on to another story, developing story, still in line with what happened last week on Friday when Raila, visited or attended the burial of businessman Kibor, and we know the attack that happened on his chopper and on them. And so the latest from page 7 on the Star newspaper, the mobilization of people from opposing camps is the biggest trigger of election chaos witnessed in political rallies, Interior CS Fred Matiang'i has said. The CS said voter bribery and rented crowds are the biggest threats to the country's security ahead of the August elections. He was concerned that the emerging trend where politicians pay money to huge groups of people, some ferried at night in political gatherings, will hurt the country. If this doesn't stop, as every group will be mobilizing, the clashes will intensify. The CS told the National Assembly Security Committee, chaired by Limuru Member of Parliament Peter Muathe, that the police cannot be blamed for clashes that emanate from bribery contracts. Police will not be used to mediate bribery contracts and sharing of the setting of disputes arising out of rented crowds and mobilizations, expectations and bribes, he said on Tuesday. The CS was responding to questions by members on the status investigations into the incident where ODM leader Raila Odinga's chopper was turned at Cabernet was in Kishu last Friday. MPs at the committee were concerned that the events were appointed to a looming chaos in the upcoming election. Matiang'i said from the evidence the Interior Ministry is looking at, it cannot be concluded the attack, which he described as annoying and necessary, was planned. The suspects who were arrested had hoards of thousands of shillings. They had taken their statements. He said there must have been choreographed, and it is not coincident they had 50 Kenya shillings notes. We are exploring the material before us. So that is the latest on that. And also, I think Babu Owino, Badi and Jeanette also yesterday were grilled by the DCI. There's a story about that just below there. MPs Jeanette Mohammed, Babu Owino and John Mbadi were questioned yesterday by DCI over the stoning of the chopper carrying Raila Odinga. The three told detectives they believe the attack was planned, not spontaneous. Words of 50 Kenya shillings notes were collected at the scene of evidence. The attack occurred on Friday, as we have said. So they had been summoned by the DCI ahead of the investigations. John Gashomo, who said the statements will help in the probe. We expect an expeditious conclusion to this matter. Jeanette said the three had driven together to the DCI headquarters and departed together. Jeanette said he gave police information he hopes will be useful to the investigations, not political zoning in our country. And meanwhile, Soy Member of Parliament Caleb Kositany and Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi presented themselves at the Rift Valley Regional DCI headquarters in Nakuru over their alleged role in the incident. So investigations are ongoing, so I will not say much about that. But from what Matiang'i was saying yesterday, he said that that incident and the chaos and the attack on that chopper that happened on Friday did not just happen. There appears to be a well choreographed, move by the people who perhaps sponsored this youth to come and, cause the chaos and, cause damage to that chopper. So let's wait and see what the investigative authorities will come up with. I will not get so much into, into the details of that. And audit queries have leave governors exposed. I think these audits have been done several times without number, and every time the Auditor General brings us a report on a particular county, we see a lot of things that are not really okay that are happening in the counties, especially when it comes to how public money is being spent. So there is a story here on page 8 on the Star newspaper. Blotted wage bill, late provision of financial documents and use of direct procurement yesterday haunted West Pokot Governor John Lanyangapuo and his Trans Nzoia counterpart Christopher Kaemba. The county bosses appeared before the Senate's County Public Accounts and Investments Committee, where they were questioned over the 2019-2020 audit queries. Lanyangapuo, who is seeking to retain his seat, was put to task to justify the use of direct procurement for services by his administration. According to the report by the Auditor General Nancy Gathungu, the county spends about 14.96 million Kenya shillings on the hiring of a road equipment. An audit review of expenditure records on hiring equipment revealed that payments totaling to 14.96 million Kenya shillings in respect to hiring road construction equipment were not supported. So I think I don't know if these governors understand the importance of having, the papers in place and doing things the right way. I don't know if they understand that. And so a lot of times these governors, these audit reports, they spend money and they know very well there's supposed to be papers to support that expenditure because of accountability, so they fail to do that. So, and a lot of the monies that goes to, the counties, much of it goes to just pay wages, and it does not, very few of it goes to developmental agenda in the county. So that, I think, is a raw deal for Kenyans at this point. I'm joined by Dr. David Matanga. All right, so he shall be joining. All right, he's getting ready, and he shall be joining us in a short bit. So this is not the first time that the Auditor General is bringing out such a report. Unfortunately, not much is done in terms of holding these governors accountable even after the report has come out, and we see this continues. It's a pattern. It's not only in West Pokot. It's in almost all the counties here, all the 47 counties, and nothing is done after this report. I would assume that EACC and other investigative bodies, after the report has come out, they will now take on and go investigate further and, bring the people who are capable to book, so that this, misuse of public funds comes to an end. Otherwise, how are we going to address the issue of corruption effectively if, these reports just come out and that's it, nothing is done after that? Doctor, very good morning to you. We can't hear you. I don't know if it's on our side or your side. Maybe our side. I don't know. They will check that. Okay. I think it is on our side. So once we are able to check that, we shall have you. Okay, Doc, can you hear me? All right, I think it's on our side there. So they're working on it. So once they're able to fix it, they're able to fix it, then we will continue now. Okay, all right, very well. And so, but the senators trashed explanation after auditors stated that the county did not provide justification for the move. So I think now we can hear you, Doc. Good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. I had to come in because I saw you were almost alone, and to do a rescue mission so that I keep you company. But thank you very much this morning, Miriam, for I had decided not to come in this first show. I was coming in the one for diplomatic leaks. Let me begin from where you have just ended. Auditors coming to check books. People are thieves. We support thieves. We support people who have stolen money. They are going, everybody is taking out huge amounts of money. And nobody is watching that. All of us are watching power. But the stories that are in the papers today, one of the stories that has made me very happy, I have already written it on my Facebook, about this money laundering, about people, 3 companies. If I have already done an investigative intelligence, Intel, I have all the problem. Now I can tell you successfully why Ruto is absent from the campaigns this week. Things are not good, Miriam, in the house. Things are not good. The businessman, the Nigerian, the Kenyan linked who lives in London and Greece. Oh my God, there are very many interesting things coming. And I think if a man, they say the 40 days of a thief always come when there is necessity of a sunshine to shine. And usually it is followed by rain in my culture. When heavy rain comes, immediately you stop your talking. Then you know that child will be very blessed. Yesterday, when I got this intel, there was a heavy downpour on my window. Just as I had received it from South Africa. Who is this company? Who is this Nigerian? Who is this? Who is taking money? The rain came on my window. I said, thank you. This good luck for the first time. This year will be through. You can't say suspect because the suspects are inside the custody already. They are here. They had come and they wanted to take the money. So, look, let's be honest, surely. Is this the country? Is it the man you want to elect? A man who has disrupted people's homes, people's friendship. A man who takes only looks for beautiful women and disrupts some of us who have no money. We can't compete with him, Miriam. We have to say the truth on this question of social life. You have a small Toyota. This guy has fixed a helicopter. Where is he? We shall talk about that later on. Some of us are very upset to that level. And it is going to become personal or aki. Because some of the things, you cannot just come and take away everything. Onyango has worked. Onyango has suffered. Onyango has paid school fees. Onyango has done everything. Onyango has struggled to get a job for that person. Then all of a sudden you want and grab. This is not very acceptable, surely. No. Saidia sisi, na sisi wacha tulia serikali. Saidia sisi, the boy child.
Yes, and speaking of which, I touched on this story earlier, but it's good that you're here because I want to hear your opinion on this. So yesterday, the DP, Deputy President William Ruto, held a meeting with the 3 governors. He was hoping to meet all the governors, and of course, no cabinet secretary attended this meeting. But he had invited them to attend this meeting, and then he came out to, the press conference and told us things to do with the devolution and other things that, hopefully will be done. So yesterday he assumed his position as the deputy president when he was speaking. I think that is what he was trying to do. But on Monday, he is the same person who stood at the same spot to criticize the government, to call out the government as if he was not part of that government. That yesterday he came out as the deputy president of that government to now tell us about these things. I think at this point it's confusing. Is he the deputy president or not? Does he have, access?
My dear sister, people have no shame in Africa. Ruto has no shame. I don't know how the wife looks at him when he's doing these things in a house. How do the children look at him? The children that are in Ruto's house, his own children. How do you come and tell people that you are accusing the same government that you don't want? Wouldn't a sharp child like my children will say, Matanga, please, there's something wrong you are doing, Dad. Yeah, my children, they will, I swear. I remember, Miriam, let me tell you, confess here. When I was in this politics of Uganda, those days in the 80s and the 90s, one of my children, and I've not hated her, she put up her hand and said, Dad, why do you fight Museveni every day? I looked at her like this. She didn't say I had double standards, but she did not understand Miriam, I think you get my point where she's coming from. She did not understand why every day BBC, BBC, Daddy, I saw you on BBC, I saw you on Sky News, I saw you on ITN. Museveni, who is this Museveni? Then I said I did not want to get annoyed with her. She said she was fed up with this African everything, seeing me doing this. So I kept quiet and I sat my daughter down. The first question I asked my daughter, did you apply for asylum when you came here? She said, no. Have you ever seen any interview? Have you ever done an interview? He said, no. Who did the interview? Daddy. Who did this? Daddy. Who did this? Daddy. Who took you to school? Daddy. Did you know why? Then I explained to her. So when you have intelligent children, Miriam, they will come and ask, you will feel ashamed that why are you during that time you are telling people that this is a very bad government. Then at night your children see you coming with the same government, telling them you are very good. But during that time I was lying. No child will ever be obedient in your house. Watakupiga hata ndani kwa nyumba. So I don't know whether Ruto's children and the family, they see the lies. Ruto should have just left. I don't think Raila can lie like that. Raila has never lied to Ida. Raila tells Ida the truth. Everybody knows Raila suffered. All of us were in the trenches with Raila in Kenya. I was a member of Kenya, so what will you do now? Yes, we fought for freedom. It came. Do you remember a group called February 28? Do you remember any of you in Kenya? Do you remember?
I remember.
Yes. So what was Cheze? We have suffered. February 28 group. Mnajua hiyo?
Brigadier Odongo.
Yes. Yes. Sasa nyenye, please, you Kenyans, go on harassing matanga. You don't know. We have been there. We have also suffered for this nation. That's why when you insult me nicely, because I don't reply you. But me, on Ruto, I will reply you up to the last iota. Kwisha, kama Mungu anachukua, mimi siwezi kufanya kazi na Ruto. Ya Mungu, mbele ya Mungu hata anajua. Wale wenye wanafanya kazi na Ruto wafanye. Kama anachukua madaraka hapa, mimi nitakuwa nyumbani kwangu. Siwezi kulala kwake Sungoi. Kwa hivyo nataka nini kwake? In fact, I will be eating sausage of retirement. Kwangu tena iweze kumuomba nipatie ndururu. Huyu mtu anatisha watu bure. Yeye hajui sisi tulikuwa rebels kali sana. It is Uhuru who is playing about with him. Anaplay hakuna. Sisi tuna support Raila na nguvu zetu kama wananchi wazalendo wa Afrika. Yes, the other time we never, some of us disagreed with Raila. I had points because I said he's an elder that should help these younger boys. That is my disagreement. Raila has never insulted me. Raila has never said he will never meet Matsanga because he remembers the trenches in Stockholm, in Norway, in Belgium, in UK. He remembers those trenches. We have been together. Wamweri, Kogi Wamweri, ask Kogi Wamweri, ask Kogi Wamweri in Wandsworth, in London. What were we doing? Watu hapa wanakuja kusema, oh, Kenya, you Kenyan, you. I'm even more Kenyan than some people. The only thing is that I've not married a Kenyan wife, that I would be given an identity. I've been looking. Unfortunately, I came when I was married. There's another way of becoming a Kenyan, very easy, by marrying a Kenyan wife. And I become a citizen of this country. I've lived here for more than 20 years. I've seen exactly what happens. I know the politics. I've studied the politics of Africa, the Great Lakes region. So this thing of laundering money and stealing money, the campaigns have stalled. He's not on the campaign trail. He says he has democracy. Look at another thing, Miriam, which you have not seen. This guy discourages negotiated democracy. He's now paying off the gullible younger people who have no money and taking the ones he wants. They call you at Karen, they give you 5 million to leave the place for a lady called that I don't want to mention her. She knows I've even reprimanded her. You are what? What did you do? You what? Said, oh, he needed. There is no other party. Wiper cannot take me. So Wiper cannot take you, and you surrender all that money of yours. The lady ended up paying cash, even to buy a slot, Miriam. I said, you have been my friend, but this is the end of it. Tukue namna hivyo. So some of the things that some of us speak, people might think we are only annoyed about Ruto. No, Ruto has bad manners. Ruto, surely, now yesterday, do you know why the ministers did not come? Nobody wants to go there. Do you know how many governors were supposed to come?
And yes,
very many governors.
Yes, and only 3 of them showed up. So what does this mean in terms of the numbers?
The three of them who showed up are Ruto's allies.
Yes.
Even Governor Wambura. Governor Wambura is weathering. He started very well with Azimio, but he has too many skeletons in his own cupboard. So, you know, the government cannot go on covering you because you are supporting Azimio. If you have stolen people's money, just stand for it. But if you want to follow the footsteps to cross over to the gang of thieves across the bridge in the UDA, go. And that's what Uhuru has said. If he wants to stay in Jubilee, stay. If he wants to go there, he can go. All thieves are there, Rigathi, who they have plenty of money, they have money, some of them even arrange accidents to kill their opponents by motor cars, everywhere. All these things we know. A group of filthy people in UDA. That's why I came in to support you on this one. The money found at the asset recovery agents. Thank you for the good job. This time, this politician will not say he's not involved, because the guys who are the owners are here in custody. Where, Ruto? You are lying people. You are lying younger men here, confusing them. Where? You are thief. Kubwa sana mwizi kabisa. Wizi yako nashinda hata Mungu setara. Sure. This guy can thief, he's a thief. Wait, there is another problem. Alichukua delegation Kampala. Anaonesha our president a very dangerous delegation ya waizi. Kumbe wanafanya diamonds na gold. Allah. What is this guy? This is the man that you want to elect this one as a president. The Kenya will not be liked by the people. Some people live in it. You know, Tanzania is building very good hotels in preparation. I'm telling you, next week I will be in Arusha. I'm arranging with my team of media who shall broadcast from Arusha, at least live from Arusha, so that when I'm filing a few papers, you can see the type of hotels, the Arusha that I saw in 1979, with one car street. the Arusha has mushroomed with high skyscrapers. So if you elect Ruto here, be prepared to lose quite a lot. Investors will cross over to Tanzania, they will cross over to Rwanda, Uganda, because there is a man who is double standards, a man who knows that there is something fishy around. Why is it that Ruto, in all his campaign, he doesn't talk about Kapedo, Siguta, Keio Valley, and the mess around there? Onyango, I don't know whether you have heard him talk about it. Miriam, have you heard about of this threat? The man is busy in Mount Kenya, but the people in the backyard are dying. There is insurgents there. Does he know something about these insurgents? Is he not the one bringing these insurgents there?
Okay, we seem to have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there from Doctor's side. Paul, if you can hear me, good morning. Paul, can you hear me? Okay, so we seem to have had
What will the Kikuyus?
Go ahead, Doc.
What will the Luos, the Kikuyus, what will they get? What will the Mombasa, the Coast, the Giriamas, what will they get? What about the Kalenjin themselves, where the president will be coming from? What about the Somalis, what will they get? They will allow you to take 40%? Media. Why are we lawyers always very confused? Surely, why God has been very unfair to us in Luyaland? We have never had a leader who speaks out apart from Sikuku and Wamarwa and now Matanga. The rest of the leaders polish shoes. They polish shoes for Ruto and other people. Even back at home, some of the leaders are polishing shoes. To the extent that Museveni says, there is nobody to appoint from my Luyaland. Did you know that, Moses? They said, I wish Matanga was here. He would speak. I would appoint Matanga. That old man there is saying it. Because there is nobody. Nobody in our Luyaland who is speaking. They don't speak. They see the things, but they don't speak. Look at Mudavadi. Now, he says he has 40%. He has relinquished this and that. That is all rubbish. Which 40% will give you that 185 plus statues for Luya? Are we going to a kingdom? Are we doing BBI? Why did you then refuse BBI? Unaona watu wa hizi mafisi. These are mafisi. That's a part of mafisi. Mudavadi is mafisi. Now hata hizi pesa hizi zilikuwa, you know, evangelical money. Go and address that American company. It is associated, Miriam, with the reverends, bishops, and the Jericho bishops. Miriam, I want you to bear me witness that I told you a few weeks ago that Ruto went to US to arrange money. Isn't it a great job that the government of the Republic of Kenya has at last done some good action to impound 5.6 billion? Imagine it was in dollars. In the Jericho, that company, I can show you the name and you can find out. I think you have already found out what the name is. That company is a company of the evangelical churches. It deals with the evangelical churches of the United States of America. So when people say Matanga talks lies, which lies? Didn't I tell you that money was on the move somewhere? I was right. Didn't I tell you that all this Qatar, where Uganda, this time Uganda say, we don't want this. Everybody knows. Part of this is our speaking out as the fourth estate. And Miriam, that's why I'm very happy. Thank you. I'm very happy. I speak my mind. And later on, Onyango sits down and says, this guy was right. The money came, it was impounded. I am proud. I don't need money handout from the president to give me in order to speak. I spoke my mind. Yesterday, I was being listened to by 200 million people. 200 million at night. When you people were sleeping, 200 all over the world were saying, tell us more about what is happening in the great horn, the horn of Africa, Somalia. My analysis was spot on. I think, Onyango, you have said it already. Spot on. I did my analysis. That is the type of money you have here, the money you see here. Yes, not a man who claims to have started plants, but he can't plant one plant. Where is he? He started the plant, botany. Can he plant one plant? Has he transformed one plant into the other to produce oranges? Where are Ruto? At the ready. Get us one plant, change the mango to. In fact, as soon as I finish here, I want to challenge Deputy President Ruto to change the mango to produce oranges. That's the start of plants and the trees. Botany. Miriam.
Fruit farmer.
Yes, modern fruit to farmer. Analeta fruit to farmer. A terrorist from Turkey. Anamuingiza Uganda. Anamupatia $4.5 million. And a $5 billion. A $15 billion. Voila. In one telephone call, terrorist. Harun Ayadin. Now we are pounding the terrorists. We are pounding them in, pounding them down, pounding them. Well, on that one I agree with 7 pound. Bigger. Paka waende Indian Ocean. Hapana, Indian Ocean and Atlantic. Wanawapiga huko mbaya sana. Tena hao, those boys of UPDF, when they come in a bad way. Hey. So for me, we did a great job to fight for opposition of Republic, to get parties back. I did it, while Besigye did not want the parties to come back. Who is more credible here in Miriam? I'm credible. That's why Besigye, God has refused him to ascend to power in Uganda. Even if he walks inside Lake Victoria with his head upside down. Before he drowns, God will tell him, I'll never give you. Because this thing was from Matanga. This is Matanga who worked for the political parties. The way I spoke, the way I fought battles, the way I demonstrated in the city of London, Her Majesty's city. On the streets, at times, tear gassed in London, when I brought 5,000 people, 5,000 surrounded Commonwealth headquarters to pull out that Museveni out of his seat in the house. In the office, we wanted to break the windows. Where? At the ready. Let the age take me. But nobody should just think that, oh, I should help a boy who was not born. Even the father had not thought about managing him. And you want me to help Bob Wine to do what? To go around the international bodies to talk like Geneva is talking. I have talked there before. Look at me. I can't join such a bandwagon of people looking for dollars. I am not looking for external dollars. I'm looking for a better Africa. When you see a peaceful Africa. But in Africa, where Miriam, you point fingers at the sitting president and accuse him, don't think he will go away. He will stick there. Persuade the sitting president to give you this thing nicely. Tell him, mzee, umefanya kazi mzuri, lakini wacha sasa hapa tupate. I told Mugabe, you see, one of the problems of African leaders is when you talk the truth, they don't pay you money. But when you talk a lie, they pay you money. Miriam, did you know that? You are going to grow up to consultants. The moment you come with Africa with a very nice report, not telling the truth, you will go back and sit in your office thinking the cash, the check is coming. My daughter, you might die of hunger. Have you heard what I've said? If you don't have extra money to draw on your account, you wait for that report to come, you might die of hunger. But come with a report exaggerated, written in lies, an African leader will give, you know, you will even order for motorcade to escort you to the airport. I told Mugabe in Addis Ababa, I went to his room, may his soul rest in peace, in Addis Ababa in Sheraton. I said, Your Excellency, time has come for you to create a transition. Mugabe now told the secretaries to go out. He said, what do you mean by transition? I said, Your Excellency, you see Joyce Mujuru has just gone away from you. Now you have Emerson Mnangagwa who introduced me to you. Why don't you, Emerson Mnangagwa and Amuzenda, and bring them together? And another person, Joyce Mujuru is gone. Bring them together, create a transition. You can do Nyerere style. Are you hearing me, Miriam? That's what I told the president. Your Excellency, you can hold the ZANU PF while there is a new administration taking place. He said, my friend, today I didn't come with a lot of I've spared some salary, my salary, for the other man. I put it in an envelope, and I have kept, let me tell you, Miriam, I've kept that envelope. I've kept that envelope. Father Gabriel, go where? He gave me $1,728. And he said that was his allowances for a month, that he knows what to be in exile is. You go and pay your bills. Umesikia? Let viewers listen to this. That's very true. I got out of the hotel, relieved, knowing very well that all my hotel bills in Radisson Blue are now cleared. But of course, I'd gone with my own little money. But I thought I'd planted a very good seed of transition. But Miriam, let me tell you, when President Mugabe reached Harare, do you know what he did? He called the wife and told the wife that, you know our friend in London, yes, Matanga, that Ugandan Pan-African, he told me about a transition. You know what the wife did? The wife became a transition. The wife ran and took, this is a true story. She started working very well with Mnangagwa to oust everybody. Then later on turned on Mnangagwa and said Mnangagwa wants to kill the president. That's what African heads of state are. This is coming from this type of we Africans not being honest with each other. It's dishonest that kills us in Africa. Miriam, you asked something like that, dishonest. President Mugabe, instead of creating a transition, that would have seen him being buried without any problem, a hero of heroes. But I want to thank God. I flew into Harare to see his body on that day and at least see it and be at that ceremony to see an African hero go down 6 feet. Your Excellency, remember my words of transition. So bad politics of politicians who point fingers at the ruling people. If a president is in media, a president is in power, then you point the finger at him. He will not live. When he sees Mubarak in a keg, you think that man will go. He will think you will also put him in a keg. So that is the life we have lived, some of us. But Ruto's life is colored with the colors of insincerity. Very insincere. Ruto is very, very, very insincere man. I don't know how he lives in that house. I told my friend, this friend of mine, yesterday, that it is very good. You see, there is one color that you cannot mix. Have you noticed that there is one color, Miriam, in all colors of the rainbow that you cannot mix and you wear without, and then walk with, you don't walk properly. What is the color? Just guess.
Yellow.
Yes. Try to bring white. That is where I seem to have come to the closet. Miriam, but luckily enough, I've not seen you ever wear yellow. I would just tell you
I love yellow. Sometimes I do wear, but mustard. There's another kind of yellow called mustard, not the screamy yellow.
Not the one of UDA.
All right, but before we end, Onyango has been there. Onyango, your thoughts on some of the things that we've been looking at under that press conference yesterday the Deputy President held, comparing it to the one he held on Monday?
Okay. What I can say that Deputy President needed to walk out of government because one leg inside, one leg outside does not give any image about what he says. There's no way you can be in government at the same time you're criticizing the government. So you are confusing your followers. You don't know, you cannot divide your followers in between supporting government or criticizing government. So his press conference is just an embarrassment. He needs just to walk out of government, takes a path in opposing the government, such that he can align his supporters in one spirit that each and every move the government makes, maybe they are making mistakes according to him, or they are making good things that is prospering the country. So while he still is in office, and then he keeps on criticizing the government, on another hand, he opposes he supports the government, or is engaging in the government activities. We are failing to wonder which policies or which side is he for, such that we can make up our mind those who might be supporting him or not supporting him.
All right, thank you so much. So we end here because we will come back at 11.
We are coming back at 11, but one of the things that I want to condemn, William, from my hot seat in Mombasa, where I am, you can see the deep sea here, and things behind me. There is an ocean. The spraying of bullets of one of the aspirants of UDA, such a thing should be condemned. Surely, we should condemn such activities that bring shame to this country. We are heading for an election. There is no need of eliminating your opponent. That man survived a hail of bullets out of his car, and he's lucky to have none passing through his body or head. So such actions in Kenya are not worth. We don't want we don't want to reserve ourselves. We must condemn them. That is not very good politics at all in Kenya. Let's not kill opponents. Let's just sell our policies, sell the policies. Don't kill opponents. You have decided, you Kenyans and you Africans, you have decided, Onyango, to bring something you don't know. Election is poison in Africa. Why did you allow it to come to you, Miriam? Even Miriam is talking here. She has gone to, she's a good scholar. She's saying it is very good election. It's very, Miriam, it is poison, my daughter. It's a very big poison. All Kenyans are very good people. They can buy you food in a restaurant. They can pay you a bill if they see people are going to beat you because of 2 shillings. But when you mention the word elections, Aki, everybody will not pay your bill. Watakuwa hapo, watakufunga, wachukue, wakupeleke kwa police station for 2 shillings. But when, after all these elections are over, Onyango,
Yes.
and Miriam, these guys sit quiet. You enjoy. Doesn't Onyango move with others in Kibira Bar or Central Kenyatta Avenue or Korogocho or Westlands or Ngara or Upper Hill? It is that Nyamachoma Onyango there in Upper Hill. You go to all these places and sit with them, Kawangwale. You sit with them, but when it is election, some of them are not even talking to you at the moment. I know. When they look at you, they say, the services are not here. Even when the internet is working, it said it fell out yesterday, the tree broke. And then you look outside, you see, you want to see. But because you belong to Azimio, and his UDA, so he says the internet, the tree came and cut the wire is not reaching here. Not knowing that internet does not use wire. Internet is in air, Wi-Fi. So anakuima kuingia kwa internet yake sababu ya siasa. Lakini those days without siasa, muko watu wazuri sana wa Kenya. Mnatembea kwa basi moja, kwa matatu moja, mnakula chakula moja, mnatembea kwa barabara moja. Muko watu yote, muko binadamu, watu ya Kenya. But when it comes to elections, that's why I'm saying, Miriam, you brought some poison. You should bring a topic, is election a poison to Africa? I think that topic should be there tomorrow. Yes, is elections poison to Africa? Because every country in Africa is falling to pieces because they are preparing for elections, or they have just finished elections, or they will have elections.
Are we supposed to return to chiefdoms?
No, no. We go back to how we used to be. Who is the leader of the Rural Council of Elders? Yeah, you are a Ruo yourself, Onyam, from Bondo, from Siaya. Who is the leader of the Ruo? There are some things in the Ruo community you cannot do without asking that man. Otherwise, your children will have broken legs. Yes, I know Miriam does not believe in those things, but they do happen. They do happen. If you don't, and the editor says, hapana, hiyo kitu ulifanya outside our culture. Watoto wanaanza kuimba mchana na mnaivi ako kwa classroom anaimba kwa classroom. Wewe unafikiri ako na ugonjwa? Hakuna ugonjwa. But because there is a curse of the elders. So China discovered there is a country called China. China went back after Mao Zedong. There is a man called Mao Zedong who liberated us, removed us from the chains, fought for us. He's now gone. Now, do we lament for his departure? If so, and if not, can we try to find something that will make China great? Can Africa begin? We had a colonial master who brought us English and French that we speak. Isn't it time for us Africans to think why those people came and died for us? Now we are even continuing to die ourselves instead of finding whether this election which they brought mode of electing leaders every 5 years, Miriam, is helpful to an economy which is in the trillions. Debt. All African economies, there is no economy in Africa which is not in debt. Show me one. Show me.
Libya.
Libya is not in debt.
Yes.
Because it is not on a stock exchange. Onyango.
Yes.
Libya is not on stock exchange. Have you seen Libya listed anywhere?
No.
Yes. Libya was a very good country. And it was killed. It is now in debt. They don't know who buys and sells their oil. But somebody continues to take oil and makes the conflict prolonged. Prolong the conflict, kabisa, paka mwisho. While we take more oil out of it. Am I wrong? Miriam, let me go and prepare for the next show. I'm coming up with why is Somalia heading back to the days of Islamic courts. Onyango, that's a very interesting topic that I believe you know more about it. And Miriam, we can dissect that topic. Is Somalia heading back? Because it is a very interesting, I don't want to kill the sweetness and the salt. You will see the facts. And if you want, Stephen will bring back that clip yesterday. What I told the world, over 200 million people watching. We are in chaos. We might be going back there. Islamic courts, Miriam, seem to have the people who were there before seem to be agreeing that the biggest problem is the prime minister and the president. So there is likelihood of, have you seen how Americans play? That's what did I tell you? Miriam, what did I tell you? Was there no meeting in Doha? You are the lady of dispatches.
Yes, we'll come back at 11, Doc, and look at it. I don't want to say much, because I also have so much to say about the same topic. That's why I'm quiet, because I want to reserve it to 11. So we end now. We shall be back here at 11. Yes.
At 11,
I don't want us to spill the beans. Yes, that we talk about that.
Today, I promise I will see you at 11, before 11. As you switch off now, I'm calling you.
All right. Thank you for watching. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
And send me your number because.
All right.